proposition team, I would like to thank everybody in the room for being here today and making this debate possible. I will first address the proposition's case, and then I'll move into the opposition's case in today's debate. That will be after I make a brief address of the definition of socialism as presented by the proposition team. Now, they define socialism as the redistribution of wealth. While we do agree that that is a piece of socialism, there is one critical component missing from their definition of socialism. You see, in a capitalist society, we redistribute wealth when we purchase something. So, in socialism, the redistribution of wealth is through the force of government. It is mandated. That is what makes socialism socialism. Otherwise, every single time that I go to the vending machine, I put in my dollar and I buy a water, I am being a socialist. No, quite the contrary, I'm being a capitalist. I'm spending my own money on a good that I wish to purchase from a dealer, from someone who is selling this to me. So their definition of socialism is completely incorrect. Yes, your point.
I'm sorry, though.
All right, moving on. Their first contention, under the humanitarian level, under the levels of truth, their subpoint A, they said that the State Department is socialist. However, this is blatantly untrue. The State Department is not socialist. Health and Human Services, the like. It is not a socialist existence in our nation. Their subpoint B, that charity is socialism, that is quite untrue. Charity is a piece of a capitalist nation. Charities are by choice. I do not walk up to a charity, get held against a wall, and told to give them $5 or they will take it from me. No, I walk up to a charity, I see that it is to a good cause, it will help a small child, and I say, oh, I will give $5 to help little Timmy with lymphoma. That is a conscious decision that I make. Their second point, under the global level of truth, they stated that that we associate with socialist nations, that we recognize and accept socialist nations. However, do we, by interfacing with capitalist nations, become capitalist as well? Because then we are both socialist and capitalist, clashing ideas. We are in a paradox. The world will explode if we accept this idea. We cannot possibly believe that simply by associating with socialist nations, we become socialist. This is completely untrue and not fair and should be discounted in today's debate. What they need to do is compare and contrast socialist nations, how we are alike and how we are different. And we as the opposition team believe that we are absolutely different from socialist nations, and we are completely and utterly not a socialist system. Their third level of truth, political and governmental. Their first subpoint, subpoint A, the government interferes with our capitalist system. There are examples in the financial and auto industry. However, this is at a singular point in time. This has been within the last year that all of a sudden the United States is socialist, and now we are defined as a socialist nation. No, that is not true. We're looking at the United States through its history, how it exists, not at a singular point in time, but as it is known. And we are known as a capitalist nation, regardless of whether or not we made an auto industry bailout. Furthermore, we purchased these. We did not give them money. It wasn't just, here, have $1 billion. It was, here's $1 billion, we now own you. Yes.
Isn't it true, though, with the motion the U.S. is a socialist nation? We are looking at this time as more prominent than the past, while the past should be looked at. But because of the recent things and the recent things that have been passed, this is a very true point that this could be made for the U.S. socialist.
That is a true point that could be made. However, as I stated, we were not doing this for the redistribution of wealth. There were other motives, for instance, keeping jobs in existence. So we purchased these companies and we now own them. Something that you would do in, say, a capitalist system. Moving on, their second subpoint. Subpoint B, that we have huge taxes. First of all, most of this spending is sent to military, which is not a redistribution of wealth, it is for protection of our nation. So it's not socialism. Furthermore, socialist nations that we accept as socialism, i.e. Denmark, China, have much higher taxes. The United States has extremely low taxes if you look at it in comparison to a real socialist nation. There's subpoint C, welfare and the Department of Health and Human Services. How is this socialist? We are paying to keep our citizens alive. People who are on welfare are not jumping out of line from welfare, holding their check and saying, yes, I made it, I am now wealthy. No, they're saying, okay, good, I can afford to live for this month. This is not a redistribution of wealth, it is the prolonging of our nation's citizens. Yes, your second point.
Would you say that the USSR, the Soviet Union, was a socialist nation?
Yes, I would, but the way that they distributed wealth was far different from how the United States distributes its welfare services. Moving on, their fourth point, on a societal level, there are two subpoints. Both are eliminated by the idea that socialism is something when you are forced to donate. For instance, in churches and in charities, you choose to be a member of the church and to pay that certain amount. You choose to donate to a charity. So this is not a socialist system, it is a capitalist system. Their fifth level of truth, on the individual level, subpoint A, sharing. That is something you choose to do. If I'm holding a bag of candy and Jonathan walked up to me, I have every ability to say, no, I don't want to share. I have every ability to say, yes, I want to share. So this is completely untrue. There's subpoint B, that we take care of each other. Yes, we take care of each other under the idea that they will take care of us in return. This is because we work with each other, and it is not mandated. You can always say no, meaning that this is not a socialist nation on those instances. Moving on to the off-case points presented by the opposition team in today's debate. Our first point, on a global level, to the globe, we are known as a as a capitalist society. We're not known as a socialist society. If you walked up to somebody in China and asked them, is the United States socialist or capitalist? They would say that we are capitalist. We are known as capitalists. We define ourselves as capitalists. We are not a socialist society. Our second point, on a political level, socialism is frowned upon in politics. It is an insult to point to a politician and say, he is a socialist. That is something that we do out of disgust for their actions. I'm sorry, I'm in protected time. So clearly, we are not a socialist nation. Now, for the two reasons presented by the opposition team in today's debate, and the fact that no proposition points remain standing, I must strongly urge a vote in favor of the opposition team in today's debate, because the United States is not a socialist nation. Thank you.